channel, Josh here, and this is my review of Quantic Dreams and Sony's co-production Heavy Rain. For anyone that played, I think it 2005 perhaps? Whatever, the previous game, Indigo Prophecy, they will likely know exactly what Heavy Rain is about. For anyone else, this is a very hard game to describe. Suffice to say, it is not a series of quick-time events or a game full of them. It does have its share of quick-time events, but definitely deserves much more credit than that because the level of immersion in this game is much greater than you would find in something like God of War. Even though I love God of War, don't flame me here. I'm buying God of War 3 day of release. But yeah, suffice to say, it's going to be a little hard to describe this game. You control everything from the most minute actions of turning on lights to life and death battles, car chases, everything in between. Not fully in control. It's definitely more of a QuickTime-like setup, but anyway, you're going to have to watch videos, or better yet, just play the demo on the PSN to figure it out for yourself. The demo's free, download it, it's a great demo. Even if you don't like the game, it's certainly an interesting experience that I think everyone should experience who is honestly interested in the gaming industry. It is an interesting step forward, and I think really a good one. One that I definitely want to see more of. Apparently the sales have been doing well, so we might just yet see something more like this. Anyway, normally I start with the story, but the story is deeply intertwined with the gameplay, and I really don't want to spoil too much. Frankly, even a summary of the first couple hours is really spoilerish, because this is just one long, very intricate murder mystery plot. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It is a murder mystery. It's you play the role of a drug-addicted FBI agent. You play the role of kind of a washed-up private detective. You play the role of someone whose son has been stolen by the game's villain, the Origami Killer, and you play a journalist on the case, wanting to publish a report on it, who is actually the female, and if you've seen any of the trailers. Anyway, all I'm really going to say is that I think the story moves at an amazing pace. It goes pretty slow at the beginning. Some may be put off by that. I advise you not to really be frustrated by that. Just go with the flow, get into the experience. If you can sit down and play this game for 4 or 5 hours straight, that's wonderful, because it really gives you a great setup and does make you equate with the characters a lot more than you would in a regular game. Granted, I don't think it accomplished quite what Qunatic Dream wanted to, is immediately give you that emotional gut reaction. I think that took a little longer, but in all fairness, it still did happen. And particularly the climax of this game, the last 3 or 4 hours, was incredible. It was one big, giant climax, and everything you wanted to happen would happen, and even more. Particularly all of the QTE events and any of the other kinds of gameplay. Very tense, but never felt cheap, and there's only one point in this game that I think the story falters a little. As for the so-called plot hole in this game, I'm not going to say what it is, because again, that constitutes a spoiler, and I'm greatly against those. But I just wanted to say that it is not actually a plot hole, honestly. I don't understand why people are seeing it as... Oh, actually, I guess I understand it, but I also am very surprised by how many people have listed it as a plot hole, because they cannot imagine or fathom that something was somehow done off-screen. Whatever. But I won't say anything more about that. If you want to talk to me about it, message me. Whatever. Suffice to say again that the gameplay I really enjoyed. It's definitely a specific type of gameplay. A lot of it is dialogue trees, thinking, exploring. In particular, the FBI agent has this kind of holographic desk setup where you can piece together clues and look at files of things and do geo-analysis of all different items that you've received, kind of link things together, and you really feel like you're doing it yourself. There's not many of these sequences. I probably could have used maybe one more, but they were really great when they happened. I really enjoyed them, and particularly the middle one was really, really satisfying. All of it's controlled using the motion sensing, and it worked really well. I guess that's just as good a transition as any, and to go to the controls portion, where again, yeah, I think this is a really fantastic controls, but there is one big gripe I do want to get across, and that is that the actual just regular walking around is very awkward for some reason. You have to hold R2 to move, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, for one. And then even when you're doing it, you're controlling a tank, like old school Resident Evil style. It's really frustrating to do at times. doesn't ruin the experience, but definitely kind of boots you out of it a little. You'll get used to it as the game goes on, though, and it's not really painful. So take that how you will. The rest of the game controls rather nicely. All of the response timing for the button presses are really nice. Particularly, I really enjoyed how the story morphs itself around you, even if you fail some of the controls, or, and again, going back to the story, even if entire characters die, the story will continue and morph itself around that. And that's really the main draw of this game, is to just enjoy the story as it goes. It's all your decisions. There is generally kind of predetermined parts you go to, but for the most part, the latter portion of the game is all up to you within the confines, and it's really, really exciting. And the controls, like I said, each scene in particular, even if you mess up a control or two, the game will continue playing, and it will give you more control to try and make up for it. It might make your situation easier, and might make it harder, you never know. Lastly, I wanted to go to the graphics and sound, because particularly the graphics, this game is a looker. Yes, it is. Really fantastic graphics. Definitely one that I expect out of the PS3, and for a game that's been in development for so long, particularly first party, really amazing graphics. The only qualm I really have is that some objects in the environment can be very low res, but that's not apparent in most cases. It looks almost creepily photorealistic, but this does sometimes and very occasionally happen when during a close-up of a character in a movie, you will see them lifting up something, and that object itself is not too detailed. But this is the equivalent of knocking the one tile on the floor in a beautiful porcelain floor. It's a really fantastic looking game. The rain itself looks really nice. I guess that they can say you can judge a game's graphics by its water effects. Then you know what? Definitely this game has some amazing graphics. As for the sound, I really enjoyed the score. I think it treads the same theme rather nicely. It keeps the same beat for the most part. There are some couple standouts. No songs this time around like there were in Indigo Prophecy that were sponsored from Theory of a Deadman there. Not so here, but it doesn't need them. And I didn't feel cheaped out because of these. So yeah, they think they did a really fantastic job on this game. I realize I'm being a little vague, but again, that does come from just the really heavy story nature of this game. If you are not totally satisfied with gaming as of late, want something incredibly mature, something that deals with serious issues, has a great plot line, a lot of plot twists, in particular near the end of the game. There is a couple that just blew my mind, and I am usually pretty good at murder mysteries. But if you want something more mature, if you want something more involving, more story-based, and if you want something just generally more innovative, then go pick up Heavy Rain. I advise you just buy it. Don't even bother renting it, because though it is shorter than most games, it's only about 8 hours, I'd say, you will want to play it again and see what else you can do, and I'm currently in the process of doing that, and things are turning out very, very differently, so that's a great surprise. I was really hoping this game would be good. I was kind of worried it wouldn't for a while, but now I see that my fears were completely unwarranted, and this is a definite must-buy, great first-party title, and something I hope that we see more of in the future.